Welcome back to my channel. My name is Midwife Sally. So today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. Before then, what we do is to help pregnant women go through pregnancy without worrying that something will go wrong. So you can join our pregnancy class. You can also get a copy of Sally's tips for expectant moms, so to take you throughout your pregnancy journey. Today we are seated at RV Park Hotel. So when you come here, they can organize your events for you or whatever you want to do, and you would love it. Their service is top notch. Okay, so their numbers are on the screen. You can always call them. Yeah. So today we have an interesting topic. Okay, so I have a lot of moms, and our guest is Mrs. Boake. Yeah, so today I didn't mention her other name. She's Mrs. Boake. Okay, so I'll mention just that. Okay, and I'm Mrs. Abo. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. A lot of you call me or send messages to my inbox, and your complaint is usually that you don't want to take your medications because you think you can eat well, or you have a lot of yes, you can eat well, or when you take your medication you don't feel so well, and so you're taking only your food enough to take you through your 9-month pregnancy. Yeah, so we want to go deep into that. We have a mom who wants to share her experience. Okay, so this is not from me, but she's sharing her experience about whether it is okay to take medication or to just eat throughout your pregnancy without taking your medication if you feel well. Okay, so thank you. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Yes,
It's
okay.
always a pleasure.
Yes, I want to listen to your experience.
Medications in pregnancy has been a challenge for me. I've never wanted to take my meds during pregnancy because it made me feel sick, very sick, a lot of nausea. Naturally, I threw up a lot during pregnancy, but I think when I take in my meds, it becomes more. I realized if I'll have to throw up like 3 times in a day, this time around with the meds, I'm throwing up almost every hour, which is very bad for me. It gives me throat irritations, it gives me pain in my wrist and my ribs. So I decided not to take my meds at all. I tried to eat very well. In fact, every meal I have, I sit and write out my nutrients that I do. Carbo, protein. I try to put everything in one meal because even with the food, it was a challenge. So every little meal needs to be very nutritious. I remember I do snails with kontomire, abedu, ground the stew thing that we do with the oil, with the red oil, and our boom, exactly, with the green plantains, and I could do with garden egg. I could do palm soup with unripe pawpaw. I think someone taught me. I remember my blood level was 5, and after I took that unripe pawpaw, we take it fresh like that. You take the skin off, take the seeds off, and cut it into soup like garden eggs. It actually tastes like garden eggs. You could actually use it for stews as well. So after I took that for a while, I realized after 2 weeks my blood level shot up to 9. So it was working for me. But with pregnancy, you don't have a consistent thing. Sometimes then you realize, so that's how come I stopped that for a while, and I realized immediately I stopped that, it dropped back to 7. Okay. So it worked for me. I made sure every meal was very, very nutritious. Even with my soups, I remember I had a little red beans to make sure even if I'm not able to take a lot of the carbohydrates, there's something that keeps me fuller. Okay, not just the soup. I get to feel a little full when I take just a bowl of soup because it contains a lot of green leaves, it contains a lot of dry fish, ajado, and all those things. Exactly. So that's how I ate. But well, I went through the pregnancy, though, but it still gave me some little complications.
Yeah, so when did you get, you mentioned 5, so 5 is so low. So I would say that the food alone,
The food
at the
alone,
point, you got an HB of 5, which is like extremely low. At a point, at 5, they can even give you blood transfusion. Yeah, so at what point, like within what trimester did you realize that your HB went that low, your HB went to 5? Like,
I think I was in my 7th month, my 3rd trimester, and it was bad for me because, in fact, I needed all the nutrients to get the baby forming very well. So I needed the meds, okay, to get all those things right. But the food wasn't enough because I told you earlier I couldn't eat so much. So even with the little, no, pregnancy is such that if you do, the baby can get fine, okay, but because if you don't take, the baby takes from you, and so it leaves you the mother desperate. It leaves you the mother hanging. Okay, you realize your health is not the best, but the baby would have to still take in here. You get it, and so it wasn't really the best. I needed the meds to support me.
yeah.
You get it, because whatever the situation, probably the baby would have pulled through, but I needed the meds for me to be able to get enough so when the baby takes from me, I don't feel depleted. But I couldn't.
I remember my mom shared a similar story with me with her first pregnancy. She was even a nurse, but she thought, oh, she was eating well, and then she felt she was fine. Yes, until she got to around 5, 6 months, she delayed in going antenatal too. Yeah, so by the time she went, her first HB was a similar situation. She was like 5. Yes. And she wasn't on any medications. Like, she was also having confidence that because she was just eating well, then everything is fine. Yeah, so I think with her story and with what I have shared, it's very obvious that no matter how you are eating,
You still need the meds.
you still need to take your medications. You still need to take your medications. Yes. I recently shared a story on folic acid. Folic acid. Okay, so folic acid is something that you need for the baby's cell development, the brain, the organs, and all that. And we find all these things in food. But then, just like you are taking oil for the oil, the meat, and all that, it has this folates inside, but they may not be as adequate as you expect it to be. So sometimes moms get to, I don't know whether you've heard stories about moms who have children and they have maybe spinal bifida, they have heart disease, they have certain problems. So all these things could be as a result of some of the mothers thinking that, oh, I'm eating well, and so I don't need.
I was lucky. None of my kids went through this, but
Yeah.
I had little defaults. I remember with my first, he came out fine. I never noticed anything. So he was 4, and he couldn't take solids. He couldn't take anything solid, nothing banku, nothing rice. You give him food, he will chew in his mouth, and the food never goes down. And at a point, he spills it out and tells you he will eat. And he was still very okay with Cerelac. So I took him to school. Something dramatic happened. I took him to school, and like children play, he went and he got himself hurt. So the sore was in his mouth actually. So he came home. And he came to me, mommy, this is what happened. Then see my jaw, and he opened his mouth wide, and I realized there was a defect. His alveolar was attached to the tonsil, and the thing that helps food to move and slide out into your throat. His was attached; it never got torn. Okay, so he finds it difficult to swallow, and that day. Midwife, I don't know, because I'd beaten that boy so bad. I'd beaten that boy so much, and I felt so bad. I felt so much of a terrible mother because I should have understood the situation. But where it was, how would I have known? You get it? How would I have known? When I took him for the ENT session with the specialist, he told me these are all things that happen during formation. They are cell formations. So when you are pregnant, you try and take your meds because they go a long way to help with these things. Okay, if they are defects, you realize that, oh, I'm running a fine, but you need to 12, let's see what baby, exactly. And we wanted to even separate it, but we realized probably we could give him a voice. Yeah, so we decided once he was speaking fine, we could just give him water, a lot of water when he eats. So that's how he eats. He takes one meal, just one full spoonful, and he has to take a lot of water to make sure it helps it grow. Get it? But I realized it still came from me not taking my meds.
Wow. So, moms, I always tell my mothers that when you are pregnant, you should realize that you are creating your baby. Okay, so you are creating the baby with the food you eat, with your self-care, and with your medications. Very important. Never assume that because I'm eating well, because my HB is high, I am not going to take my medications. Please do take it until you have given birth, okay, so that you don't have little problems. She was fortunate. Her problem, I think, if you compare it to somebody who is having a heart problem or spinal bifida, hers is like maybe 2% or 3%. So let's take caution and then be careful with our medications. Take your medications during pregnancy and don't leave your pregnancy to chance. Thank you so much. What do you have to say?
Oh, I'm grateful. Thanks for having me, Miss. God bless you for the wonderful work you're doing for expectant mothers. We are grateful. Midwives are grateful.
Yes.
Everyone is grateful for this wonderful work. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. I'm so grateful that she has opened up to share all her stories, the pleasant and the ones that are not really pleasant. She has been able to share it. And you know, for us to be able to reduce maternal mortality in Africa, we need to speak, we need to share our stories, we need to say it as it is, because it is out of that we can learn and know where to target. Okay, so moms, please come out, speak, tell your story. My photographer will always tell me when he's posting on my page, he has to get some pictures of black women, and he will be like, oh, it is only the white people who are sharing their stories and having posts about this. And I'm like, oh, look for a black person. He says, no, I'm not finding it because we are not sharing our stories, we are not telling it. Okay, so let us tell our stories, and it will go a long way to reduce maternal mortality. Thank you. Keep watching Midwife Sally on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and also on TikTok. Have a great day. Bye.